Zeeland is a province in the southwest of the Netherlands. It is made up of a number of islands. A large part of the province lies below the sea level.
In Zeeland, most of the land at which we are doing agriculture right now and what we're living is below sea level. That's causing seawater to try to come into the land all the time. Well, to stop that process from happening, we are draining water out of the agricultural fields, but draining the water out is also causing the soil to go down. Well, soil going down with an increase in sea level in the future will cause this saltwater intrusion to become more and more over time. So although normal agricultural crops might be feasible at the moment, it might well be that in 50 or 100 years you are just completely unable to culture them. So instead of fighting the saltwater, we try to research whether it's economically feasible to do cultures of saltwater animals, so like ragworms, fish and shellfish on land with saltwater.
Sander coordinates an ongoing experiment at this trial farm in Kolijnsplaat. It is funded by Stichting Zeeuwse Tong, or the Zeeland Sole Council. The sole is an iconic fish. For long it has been strongly associated with Zeeland as its flagship produce and export item. Apart from the sole, the farm cultures shellfish and ragworm. Growing sea organisms on land, or saline aquaculture, is quite a new idea. But what's most unique about the Zeeland trial farm is that the various products, sole, shellfish and ragworm, form a symbiotic production cycle. This means that one organism's waste nourishes another organism as food.
And the ones that are open are of course the dead ones. We've got different ponds connected to one another. We start by culturing worms. Those we administer feed. The worms are in turn eaten by fish. Well, both the worms and the fish, they produce feces, they produce manure in the water where the water is enriched with nutrients. Well, this nutrient-rich water we can in turn use to culture microalgae. The microalgae in turn are actual really good food for shellfish. So next to culturing ragworms and fish, on the waste material produced by the cultures of worm and fish, we are able to culture shellfish. So we can sell both the fish and the shellfish at the end of the season.
A system like this enables the farm to draw saline water from the sea, use it and then release it back into the sea with little or no contamination.
If you look to coastal areas for shrimp farming or for the pangasius farming, there the feces of the fish is washed into the ocean, it covers the corals, and in turn the tourists don't want to come there anymore because all the corals have died.
Apart from being environmentally sustainable, such a production system takes the idea of saline aquaculture closer to commercial viability.
The research questions are more or less whether this can be more economically feasible than your normal agriculture in this area. We have proven already that the shellfish in combination with worm culture is economically viable. Reproduction and the production of a small fish is quite costly, and that makes it economically still a small problem. We are researching on that, and at the end of the year we will find whether it's feasible for that fish. Right here we have looked for the most expensive fish because we are competing for land which is really expensive. Dutch agricultural soil is one of the most expensive agricultural soil worldwide. So you need to culture really high valued species.
One thing going in favor of inland saline aquaculture is that it does not have to look for new markets. There is already a lot of demand that sea fisheries are not able to meet.
You're looking at exactly the same markets as commercial fisheries. Yeah, the animals we are producing are also produced in the wild, but there is a maximum capacity which can be produced in the wild. If you look worldwide, then you see that the fisheries production is not increasing since the last 20 years. And there's still a demand for fish. The demand for fish is actually growing, but the production from the oceans is not growing anymore. So to close the gap between demand and production, you need some sort of aquaculture.
So what lessons does this trial farm in Zeeland have for other parts of the world trying to cope with saline intrusion?
So the concept, you can do it in other places of the world as well. The species you will have to change. Depending on your climate, you will need different species of shellfish, maybe different kind of worm, maybe different kind of fish. If you go to other areas of the world where land is cheaper, it will be much more easy to make it economically feasible.